Wynton Marsalis had my back. Wynton Marsalis had my back. Stacy Dymalski.
Sometimes the people who help you in life appear in the most unlikely of places. Last year, my then 10th grade son, Derek, informed me that he was no longer going to take advanced placement AP classes because he wanted to study music at Juilliard, and at Juilliard they don't consider AP. Well, kudos to my little boy for shooting high. Even so, I wanted him to keep his college options open, but he thought, why do I have to work that hard if I don't, why do I want to work that hard if I don't have to? So around and around we went on this issue. It was like debating a Kardashian on the benefits of a natural look. Now around the same time, legendary jazz trumpet player Wynton Marsalis was coming to town. Wynton Marsalis is one of my son's all-time heroes. So I quickly bought tickets. But I also asked my friend Mark Eaton if he were going to the concert. Mark, being the former starting center for the Utah Jazz, met Wynton way back when Mark played for UCLA, and Wynton was an up-and-comer on the LA jazz scene. Mark loved jazz, Wynton loved basketball, and so the two of them formed a friendship over this that has since lasted a lifetime. So yes, Mark was going to the concert. But he was sitting backstage. To say that my son loved seeing Wynton and his band play live is as understated as saying, oh, Twitter, it's just another form of a new smoke signal. The concert was perfection, an absolute essay in musical finesse. Afterward, Mark texted me and said, would you and Derek like to come backstage and meet Wynton? Oh. And within 5 minutes, I got to witness my son shaking hands and talking music with one of the biggest influences of his young life. And then after that, Wynton invited the three of us to join him for a post-concert reception. I'm not sure, but I think my son almost fainted. At the reception, I was struck by how approachable Wynton and his bandmates were. There were several college music students there with their teachers, and to his credit, Wynton spent more time talking shop with the kids than he did with any adult who was there to schmooze. In fact, he even at one point said to the kids, hey, did any of you bring your instruments so we could jam? Can you imagine? Derek had not brought his horn. Why would he? We never dreamed that the night would end up that way. But I vowed from that point on never to leave the house again without first throwing a tenor sax in the trunk of my car. You know, in case we ran into Chuck Mangione at the grocery store. Well, about an hour into this surreal experience, Derek comes running up to me and he says, Mom, I have an idea. I'm going to ask Mr. Marsalis if he thinks I need AP classes for a career in music. If he says I don't, can I drop the AP track altogether? Interesting. I looked over at Wynton Marsalis, who was deep in conversation with a group of students. Here's a man who is consistently ranked as one of the top 10 jazz trumpet players of all time. I doubt he got that way by taking AP Physics. Still, there was something about his sincerity when he spoke with students that made me believe he took his role as a mentor seriously. I looked at my son. Fine. But if he agrees with me, then it's AP all the way. Deal? Oh, he walked over to Wynton Marsalis like he was a game show contestant who had all the answers. Even though I couldn't hear what they were saying, I could tell Derek conversed in an animated manner, using his hands to punctuate his thoughts, while Wynton listened intently and nodded. After about 20 minutes of this, Derek smiled and shook his hand and walked away, and I ran over to him. Well, what'd he say? Music or academics? He said I had to do both. Oh, yes! Yes! I am smarter. You always wrong. I'm always right. Actually, I didn't say any of that. Instead, I put on a sympathetic face and asked, did he say why? Yeah. He told me this story about a group of knights who were supposed to save this damsel in distress. All the knights tried to find the quickest, easiest way except for one. Instead, he just went after the damsel and took on any challenge that came, and in the end, he's the one that succeeded. Wow, I said. I wish I was as smart as Wynton Marsalis. My son grinned at me. Maybe someday you will be. I have no doubt that day will come, but probably not until Derek is staring down middle age and has kids of his own. Until that time, he has that magical night when two legends of jazz, one a basketball player and the other a trumpet player, made him see that striving to become the best saxophone player in the world is great. But doing that and preparing for whatever life throws at you is even better. I also will never forget that night, because it was the first time I put my faith in someone I had just met to help me make my son realize that there are no shortcuts in life. Ironically, it was step one on my path of learning to let go. Not because I want to, but because I have to. In this case, it worked out. Because when I went this round with my teenage son, Wynton Marsalis had my back. How cool is that? Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Stacy. We'll have 1 minute for the judges to tally.